good?
Hey, Glenn. Hey.
Yo.
Okay.
You all right?
Kensington's plea homeless in a fentanyl storm reverberates through Philadelphia's scarred streets, a haunting call amid hopelessness. Along Kensington Avenue, the nation's biggest open-air drug bazaar, thrives a stark symbol of a country wrestling with addiction and homelessness. The homeless in America are not faceless here. They are people whose dreams have been shattered by fentanyl's hold and systemic abandonment. Still within this bruised community, sparks of resilience remain individuals struggling to rise, neighborhoods reaching for renewal. This video exposes the agony of Kensington's plight, its entrenched roots, and the fragile flicker of hope toward recovery. The broken heart of Kensington, a neighborhood in pain. Kensington's cry echoes through Philadelphia's avenues, a haunting plea for deliverance in a tempest of addiction and misery. Kensington Avenue, once the beating heart of a resilient working-class neighborhood, now stands broken, its rhythm, fading after years of disregard. Tents line the sidewalks, fragile shelters for lives worn thin by unrelenting struggles. The air hangs heavy with rot, a harsh odor, blending with crushed hopes, where existence is reduced to a frayed backpack or a desperate message on cardboard. This is more than a road, it's a war zone, where the homeless in America endure a relentless battle to survive. Every cracked pavement and hollow gaze bears the wounds of a community left to wither.
It was like all the problems that I had growing up as a kid, all my PTSD, all my anxiety, it all had just went away. I either use IV or I smoke. It all depends on my money situation, but I want to say I'm using, I had made like $150 yesterday and I spent it before the night was over, so a lot.
The suffering here seeps far beneath the surface. Once alive with factory hums and the warmth of close families, Kensington now lingers like an old fading snapshot. Boarded storefronts rise like tombstones, their dusty for lease signs standing as mute witnesses to opportunity's demise. Children weave through turmoil on their way to class, their young eyes absorbing sights no child should witness, men huddled beneath thin covers, women lost to fentanyl's fog. Families lock themselves tightly behind doors, their sense of safety stripped away by the chaos outside. Who bears the burden when a neighborhood unravels? Everyone does, merchants watching their dreams vanish, parents shielding their children, all ensnared in a crisis that spares no soul. Kensington itself has become a casualty, its essence crushed beneath the weight of abandonment. Still amid this landscape of despair, embers of resistance remain. Neighbors, exhausted but steadfast, take up brooms to sweep away the debris of needles. In sorrow, their labor a quiet refusal to yield. Volunteers like Miss Clara at the corner church serve hot meals with gentle hands, their compassion a lifeline to those starved of care. Why does such torment persist in a land overflowing with wealth? It's the question that follows each step through Kensington's blocks, where peeling murals of brighter days cling to cracked walls. This is more than a struggle with addiction or homelessness. It's a fight for the heart of a community. Can we as a nation rise to restore a place so fractured? The tales of hardship and endurance here compel us to confront not only Kensington's wounds, but our own failure in allowing them to deepen. This is not just a neighborhood sorrow, it's a demand to face the systemic neglect that consigns entire communities to darkness. Sarah's story, a life unraveled. To understand Kensington's sorrow, you must know its people. People like Sarah, whose journey mirrors the neighborhood's anguish, like a punch to the gut.
Honestly, it's crazy. Down here, honestly, if you do not show, you show weakness down here, it will eat you up, I'm telling you.
At 32, Sarah worked as a retail associate, a devoted mother holding on to hopes of a stable tomorrow. But everything collapsed after one wrong turn. A surgery brought painkillers, followed by a fateful brush with fentanyl, a drug that grips hard and refuses to release. Within months, she lost her livelihood, her shelter, and her child. Today, a patched tent on Kensington Avenue serves as her haven, her days consumed by survival and addiction's merciless pull. Sarah's experience isn't uncommon. It's painfully human. Her voice gentle, yet weighted with determination, trembles as she admits, "I thought one hit wouldn't matter. But fentanyl stripped it all away, my job, my home, my daughter." Her confession echoes the reality of countless lives ensnared on the open-air drug scene. Every day, Sarah gambles with death, each dose a step nearer to the brink. The scattered needles around her tent are not just trash. They stand as harsh symbols of a society that allowed her to slip unseen. How can a nation let someone like Sarah descend this far? Her plight exposes the deep cost of Kensington's disaster, where every tent shelters a story longing for redemption. Yet amid the gloom, Sarah clings tightly to fragments of hope. She remembers when a volunteer handed her a warm meal, clean socks, a simple gesture that reignited her sense of worth. "I want out," she declares, her eyes flashing with determination. "I want my daughter to see me whole once more." Her struggle ignites a question: how can we help lift people like Sarah from this chasm? Her story is more than one of heartbreak. It's a rallying cry reminding us that behind every worn tent is a human being yearning to reclaim their dignity, their life, their future. The open-air drug market, a community in chains. Kensington Avenue throbs with a raw, unrelenting sorrow, a boulevard turned battleground where the open-air drug trade dominates. Fentanyl, a poison 50 times deadlier than heroin, flows through the area like an epidemic, its exchanges unfolding brazenly beneath the unforgiving daylight. There are no clandestine corners here, only open, defiant deals that shred the fabric of the neighborhood. Sirens slice through the darkness as paramedics, drained by repetition, deliver Narcan, with practiced urgency, fighting to pull lives back from the edge. Hospitals strain under the constant flood of overdoses, each case a grim testament to a community trapped in a chokehold. This isn't merely a marketplace, it's a monster that consumes hope, leaving scars that stretch far beyond the block.
When you're using drugs in today's drug environment, you're really playing with your life. I mean, you're gonna run a high risk of dying.
Could you break down for our viewers just how dangerous fentanyl is?
It's what's killing the majority of Americans today. In fact, the highest cause of death today in the United States is fentanyl.
Not car accidents?
More than car accidents, more than COVID-19, more than gun violence.
The destruction seeps into every nook of Kensington. Children scarcely old enough to grasp it weave past slumped bodies and scattered needles on their way to class, their innocence eroded by indelible images. Corner shops and diners, once humming with regulars, now teeter near ruin as patrons keep their distance, unsettled by the street's grim reputation. How can a business survive when fear keeps customers away? A deli owner sighs, his words laced with defeat. Empty lots and boarded windows mar the scenery, stark proof of a local economy suffocated by the drug trade's shadow. The homeless in America, so present here, endure alongside an entire community held captive, its vitality drained by neglect and dread. How does a neighborhood hold on to its soul when despair dictates the rules? The media adds fuel, airing grainy drone clips of tent camps and splashing opioid epicenter across headlines. It's not wholly untrue, but it buries the quiet resilience still beating in Kensington. The grandmothers whispering prayers, the youth painting murals to reclaim their blocks. This relentless portrayal stamps the area as beyond saving, robbing it of its dignity. Who has the right to decide what Kensington's future looks like? The open-air drug market has become a blazing stigma, eclipsing the perseverance that still runs deep. Yet in the eyes of those who remain in their unwavering resolve, a question rises. Can a community battered yet unbowed reclaim its light? This is more than Kensington's struggle. It's an appeal to all of us to look past the wreckage and stand for renewal. The roots of ruin, why the crisis endures. Kensington's anguish didn't appear in a flash. It's a slow, mournful elegy shaped by decades of neglect. The open-air drug trade along Kensington Avenue flourishes not by coincidence, but because it feeds on a community hollowed out by vanished opportunity. Once a proud center of industry and working-class families, Kensington now stands as a hollow echo of its past, its factory heartbeat still long ago. Employment vanished, leaving hardship in its place. Skyrocketing rents across Philadelphia have made stable housing a distant fantasy, while public housing wait lists stretch endlessly. A single setback, a layoff, a medical bill, a fractured family can push anyone into homelessness. The homeless in America, seen nowhere more clearly than in Kensington, aren't simply unlucky. They are victims of a broken system that abandoned them to survive alone. This emergency festers because the safety net is shredded. Mental illness, crushing depression, relentless anxiety, and lingering trauma haunt those living in Kensington's tents, yet meaningful help is out of reach. Deprived of counseling and care, many turn to fentanyl seeking momentary escape only to be ensnared in its lethal grip. The drug trade thrives on this vulnerability, offering a deceptive reprieve that only deepens the trap. Why do we allow despair to occupy spaces where support should stand? Injustice compounds the suffering. Black and Latino communities bear the brunt of systemic discrimination in employment and housing, their aspirations smothered by structural inequities. Women fleeing violence and seniors with no support systems often find the streets their last refuge. How can such a wealthy nation forsake its people so profoundly? The greater tragedy lies in our fragmented response. Policies addressing homelessness and addiction are a patchwork of inadequate fixes underfunded and snarled in bureaucracy. Treatment facilities, stretched thin and short-staffed, turn away those pleading for help, leaving them vulnerable to the drug market's deadly pull. Kensington's suffering is not merely a local issue. It's a national disgrace, a reflection of misplaced priorities demanding change. The open-air drug market doesn't just prey on individuals. It exposes the fractures of a society adrift. And beneath this shadow of despair, one question endures. Can we restore what has been lost, or will Kensington's suffering be etched into America's legacy? The Quiet Warriors' community efforts to heal. Beneath the shadow of Kensington's open-air drug market, where despair lingers like a heavy fog, a quiet resistance begins to take root. Against the current of addiction and homelessness, groups such as Project Home and Prevention Point emerge as lifelines offering more than charity. They offer a genuine path to redemption. Project Home stands on a simple but powerful belief: housing is the foundation of recovery. Their initiatives go beyond providing beds. They build networks of job training therapy and support helping people rebuild lives shattered by fentanyl's grasp. Picture a recovering addict mastering a trade in a bright workshop, or a once homeless mother tucking her children into a real bed. Prevention Point. Meanwhile, fights on the immediate front lines, distributing Narcan to save lives from overdoses and providing clean needles to curb disease. These efforts are not mere acts of kindness. They are courageous pushes against a crisis threatening to engulf Kensington entirely. The beating heart of this movement lies within the community itself. Everyday champions like Maria, who has lived in Kensington all her life, refuse to surrender their neighborhood. "This is our block," Maria declares, her voice firm with resolve. "We're not backing down." She joins fellow residents, sweeping away syringes, turning turmoil into brief moments of order. Others carry coolers of sandwiches or armfuls of warm jackets, their simple gestures sparking hope in eyes dulled by suffering. Yet the uphill climb remains daunting. Fentanyl's grip acts like a relentless undertow, pulling those in recovery back toward the streets. Nonprofits operate on razor-thin budgets, their impact constrained by scarce funding. And some residents, fearful of rising crime, resist new shelters or clinics, their apprehension slowing needed progress. How do you keep fighting when the odds seem so overwhelming? The Housing First model offers a glimmer of possibility. By securing stable housing before addressing addiction or mental illness, it has reversed homelessness in other cities and empowered people to rebuild. Imagine Kensington lined with affordable housing, where individuals like Sarah can gain a foothold to start anew. Expanding this model could loosen the drug market's grip, giving residents tangible reasons to reclaim their lives. But no single group can do it alone. It requires a united chorus, neighbors, officials, and citizens together. What will it take to spark that collective will? The homeless in America on Kensington's scarred streets need more than survival. They need a future, a chance to rise from the wreckage of a failing system. Personal reflection. confronting our collective failure. As I walk down Kensington Avenue, a profound sorrow anchors itself in my chest, a grief so intense it feels as if the pavement itself is mourning. The open-air drug market, littered with needles and hollow figures slumped in doorways, sketches a devastating image of decay, not only of individuals, but of our collective soul. Sarah's story lingers in my mind, her quiet determination to earn back her daughter's trust, shining faintly amid the surrounding despair. These are not nameless wanderers. They are parents, siblings, neighbors, dreamers, each one a living testament to our mutual shortcomings. The homeless in America, nowhere more tangible than here, reveal a nation that has traded compassion for apathy. What cuts the deepest is this haunting question: how can a nation of such wealth allow suffering to flourish? Sidewalks crowded with tense lives crushed by fentanyl's ruthless grasp. These are not isolated sorrows. They are the wreckage of our neglect. Kensington's agony isn't a distant tragedy. It's a blaring siren exposing what unfolds when we forsake the vulnerable. Why do we stand idle as this pain festers when the power to heal lies within our reach? Still within the gloom, sparks of resistance shine. Volunteers like Joe distributing blankets with tired kindness. Groups like Project Home piecing lives back together. And fighters like Sarah clawing toward redemption. This suffering isn't inevitable. It's a product of choices we've made and choices we can reverse. Kensington's cry for deliverance is a challenge placed before us, demanding action before more communities are swallowed by this wave of sorrow. Conclusion: Kensington's sorrow echoes through its worn streets, a raw, desperate cry that cuts to the core of anyone who listens. The open-air drug market, with fentanyl's merciless hold and rows of tents, is an open wound, a symbol of dreams and lives left to decay in neglect's shadow. Still, this suffering does not define all of Kensington's story. Beneath the pain, hope quietly sprouts resilient figures like Sarah, holding fast to the vision of embracing her daughter again. Unwavering neighbors like Maria, sweeping away needles to reclaim their blocks. And groups like Project Home and Prevention Point, battling daily to restore dignity to those the world has forgotten. Their bravery speaks softly, but clearly healing can happen. To respond to Kensington's call, we must act intentionally, expanding affordable housing, ensuring access to treatment, and strengthening community resources can shatter the cycle of addiction and homelessness. The Housing First approach, successful elsewhere, provides a roadmap, offering people a home first, then the means to rebuild their lives. Yet this requires more than legislation. It demands compassion and the courage not to look away. Support Project Home, push for policies that uplift the homeless in America, and stand for a future where no neighborhood is abandoned. Kensington's scars are deep, but with united determination, they can heal. Its redemption begins with us, with our empathy, our action, and our unwavering faith in a brighter tomorrow.